case for me in the case of drug legalization. Who are the extremists and who are the moderates?
Well, the people in Washington would have you believe that that those who support legalization are the extremists. So there was a New York Times op-ed by a former top Obama official in the drug czar's office saying that it's extreme to support legalizing drugs. Well, what does that really mean? Who are really the extremists? When you look at where people are on marijuana issues, for instance, on legalizing marijuana, full legalization, treat it like alcohol, Gallup's poll just a few weeks ago found record high, no pun intended, support for legalizing marijuana. 50% of Americans now say they want to legalize marijuana. When it goes to medical marijuana, that number goes up to 77%. So I think if you look at those numbers like that, what you see is the mainstream centrist position is to support legalizing marijuana, and the extremists are those who say we should continue to fight the drug war.
Jesus, it looks like you got some backup, man.
That's right. It's about time we get some support for this. I was waiting.
I like teasing Jesus that he's on that side when he doesn't really care about that issue. Anyway, David, look, it's a funny example, but it's really telling. Like, how do these guys get to decide what's extreme and not? It seems like it's BS. They've got their mind made up, and it doesn't matter what the American people say. So, like, you know, we're going to talk about that in regards to other issues too, but on this too. How do we break, like, what do you think is the central phenomenon that causes that, right? Because shouldn't there be a free press that says, oh, yeah, government official, you want to say X. But look at these numbers. Look at the numbers Sirota just put up there.
I think the answer to that question is that it's the centrist, mainstream, quote-unquote, moderate position in Washington. But Washington is so unrepresentative of the rest of the country. And so part of it is just a laziness that says, all right, well, if I'm in D.C. or I'm in the D.C., New York elite circles, this is what's centrist and mainstream, without regard for what is centrist and mainstream outside of the Beltway. The other part of it, though, Cenk, is propaganda. Part of the way we decide what to do in this country is by setting up perceptions of what is acceptable, realistic, centrist, and mainstream. And so the people who want to push an extreme message, an extreme set of policies, what they will do is try to marginalize the mainstream opposition by saying, no, you guys are the freaks, when in fact, when you actually look at the data, the centrist position is the one that the so-called centrists are so far away from.
All right, so let's look at some other issues to give a sense of that. For example, the public option. I remember I saw a report on CNN where one of their anchors was saying, oh, well, you know, this extreme position in favor of the public option. CNN had done a poll saying that a great majority of the country agreed with the public option. I'm like, it's your own poll. And like, give me a sense of where the country stands on that and where Washington stands on that issue.
Overwhelmingly, the American people in poll after poll after poll support the public option. 77% of Americans by one poll support the public option, and yet it was portrayed as some sort of super extreme, super liberal proposal. Now it's either one of two things. Either the country, the entire country or most of the country is super extreme and super liberal, or the people who were opposing the public option were the true extremists.
Right, and shockingly enough, the healthcare companies that have so much power and money wound up being on the side of the issue that got framed as the moderate position, even though 77% of the country disagreed with them.